Hello, welcome to another episode of Prescribing Lifestyle Podcast. Today, I have a very special guest, Donna Aston from Aston RX program. I am very delighted to invite her to come on the podcast. She and I connected a few weeks ago in her office in Toorak, and thank you for inviting me to her office at Toorak. And I've been very delighted to have a chat with her and connected. We're on the same page that it is so important to prioritize our diet and lifestyle for sustainable weight loss and vibrant health. So, welcome to my podcast, Donna.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really thrilled to be here.
Thank you. For those who don't know your story, I'll get you to introduce yourself, how you get into the metabolic world, and what's your program about?
Okay, big questions. Essentially, I started off as an overweight teenager. So I know I've sort of experienced all of that myself and ended up training people to begin with, doing body shaping competitions and all sorts of things. So there's been a very big background of my own journey, I suppose, to begin with. I've been working with private clients for a very long time, probably over 30 years. And the one thing that I found many of them were struggling with was being able to stick to something. So, everyone can do something for a period of time, but to be able to really make changes that are permanent and lifestyle changes that are permanent is obviously the biggest challenge for all of us. So I started doing a bit of research pre-COVID. I traveled the world and spoke to a lot of scientists and a lot of experts in various fields of health and started to explore some of the biological reasons that we struggle with these things, not just lack of willpower, but the actual reasons that create the food noise that really make us crave and upset our appetite. So I really wanted to learn more about that. So I came up with a program that pulled together all the bits and pieces I found, everything from circadian rhythm eating to managing our blood glucose and insulin levels, microbiome health, intermittent fasting, sleep. There was a whole host of things that we went through and put it all together in a program and started working privately with clients with that formula. And the results were phenomenal. They couldn't believe it. And I couldn't quite believe it either. And I thought, wow, what do I do? Do I write another book? How do I get this out there to more people? Because I was so excited about it. And I thought it needs more than just a book. It's ever evolving. It needs constant support and guidance. And I really wanted to be involved personally with it and reach a large mass of people. And so that's where the platform Aston RX was created. And that's what we do now is a 28-day program to really, it's like a therapeutic lifestyle intervention. The initial 28 days really helps to reset what's going on, helps us to become more metabolically flexible so that we're reducing our blood glucose and insulin. We start with blood tests so we can see what's happening with that. And then the education is an enormous part of it because there's so much conflicting information, as we know. And I just want people to have a trusted source of truth. And that's what Aston RX becomes for them. They can ask us lots of questions. They read something in the paper or they see something on social media and they come and ask us and we discuss it in the forum and make some sense of it for them. And I think that's a really valuable tool for people to have. So that's what we do with Aston RX. We're now nearly 5 years in to the platform with many success stories.
Wow, amazing. I actually heard of your program maybe a couple of years ago that I had a patient who has done your program and had great success, and she told me about your program. And then a few weeks ago, I came to your office and met you, and you were very kind to let me access the program. And it's such a great resource. Every day I got an email with a new lesson. There's forum, there's podcast, there's the meal plan, so much information and lessons. I thoroughly loved it. I think it's amazing.
Great, thank you. I'm thrilled that you got the chance to experience it.
Yeah, yeah. So can you tell us a few success stories on how people have found the program and what they've done with it? And yeah.
Mm. Majority of people who come to the program will generally come with a view to losing weight.
Mm.
And the reason for that is because that's what we can see, right? We can't see our blood, we can't see our liver, we can't see our cholesterol, we can't see all of that stuff, but we can see that our pants are getting a bit tight or that we're just not feeling comfortable with any weight that we've gained. And so that's usually the catalyst for people coming into the program. While people will definitely lose weight if they need to while following the program, it's not our goal. So, our main goal is to work on the inside health. And the body fat is actually just a symptom of what's going on the inside. So, people often get quite a surprise when they start doing the program and they start to realize that it's about so much more than just losing weight. Even within the first week, people will say, my knees don't hurt anymore.
Mm.
My back doesn't hurt anymore. I wake up before my alarm. I don't get reflux anymore. All of these things that people didn't expect to happen and they just accepted as a part of getting older, or
Mm.
it's just, that's what happens, because it's common, but it's not normal. And
Yes.
this is the thing that most people experience. So my favorite stories are those where people actually say it literally changed their life and for all different reasons. Because I think it just empowers them to take control of their health again. So one that comes to mind, this wonderful woman who trained with me years and years and years ago
Mm.
and always struggled with her weight. She trained hard. She was always really focused at training hard, but struggled with the weight loss side of things. She came into the program probably nearly 12 months ago now. She's nearly 40 kilos lighter.
Wow.
But the biggest thing, I saw her, so she's an online member, but she lives locally to my office.
Mm.
And she popped in the other day, and I haven't seen her for many years. And when she walked in, I thought, gee, she looks familiar. And she said, Donna. And I realized who it was. And it wasn't even just the weight loss. Like she looks like a totally different person, but she had makeup on and her hair done and was dressed beautifully. And this is not who she was. I could see that she took such pride in herself and she was calm. She was a very anxious person before, and she seemed calm and confident. And that was the thing I noticed the most. The anxiety I used to see in her was gone. And I was just so thrilled to see that. And she would tell you the same thing and now she has her daughter who is looking to her for advice because her daughter wants to improve her health.
Mm.
And a lot of her friends are asking what she does. So now she feels really empowered to help other people on the same journey that she's been on. So those types of stories are why we do what we do.
Wow, that is amazing. It's all the non-scale victories that I call it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I do see these things as well. Like people have less bloated, less brain fog, more energy, less hungry, they sleep better if they're on this lifestyle journey.
Mm. It's the quality of life, isn't it? I mean, it's such a big thing for people.
Yes, absolutely. So it's not just the diet, isn't it? Your program tackles all the other lifestyle things as well.
It does. And we have a psychologist who helps us with mindset coaching. A lot of people are addicted to food. Ultra
Mm.
processed food
Mhm.
is addictive. It's lighting up the same areas in our brain as cocaine.
Yes.
And to come into a program and essentially go cold turkey on
Yeah.
an addiction is really challenging. So that's why the support that we give is so important, that people really understand that, it's not their fault that they're in this state. There's the food industry has a lot to answer for, and it's no accident or coincidence that these foods are highly addictive. They've been made that way. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's where we suffer.
Mm. So we talked about sustainability a bit earlier. People go on the program and they think they stick to the program for 28 days and then they go off the program, go back to normal eating. How do you encourage people to sustain this sort of a lifestyle and keep doing what we encourage them to do?
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because one of the most common questions that I get in the first week or two of the program is what happens when I go back to normal?
Mm,
So, normal is what brought you to me in the first place.
yeah.
So, your previous normal no longer exists. You have to start to really, from day one, start thinking about your new normal.
Mm,
So, we like to call these things non-negotiables. So, we need to start setting some boundaries. It doesn't mean you have to be as strict as you are in the initial 28 days forever. Nobody expects anyone to live that way, but we can still have some non-negotiables. We can still start working on our new normal, such as making sure we get our steps in every day, making sure we're doing strength training 3 times a week. Don't snack. Once you've eaten, don't eat again for at least 5 hours. So, these sorts of things are important. Prioritize your sleep. So once you incorporate these things, and they can be incorporated for the long term, they don't take any more time than what you're doing now. In fact, most people are far more productive when they're actually in a better state of mind anyway. So it's really important that we start focusing on our new normal. So we have a program that starts after the 28-day program called Life, and that program is designed to help you understand what your personal threshold is for reintroducing a lot of foods.
mm,
Everyone's different for a variety of reasons. So it's about establishing what your threshold is that's going to either maintain you at your current weight, allow you to lose it, or you start going backwards. And most people can establish that quite quickly.
great, amazing. I love it. I love your program, and I wish
Thank you.
more people can sign up to it. And you got affiliated with Fernwoods, is that right? And a lot of the Fernwood ladies have joined up the program. What was that like?
Yeah, we have a partnership with Fernwood Fitness. So people who join Fernwood Fitness as a new member get access to the Aston RX program for a period of time, which is great because, we know that exercise and nutrition go together very much so. So rather than just doing your training and then perhaps finding that you're not recovering as well, or you're not building the lean muscle tissue that you want to, or you're not losing body fat, or there's an inflammation problem. All of these things come back to what we're putting in our mouth.
Mm,
So we teach the other side of it from the exercise, which is the lifestyle and nutrition side of things. And most people don't realize that when they don't have good metabolic flexibility and their muscles are insulin resistant, they're not going to be functioning as they
mm,
should. They're not going to be recovering as they should. So, and muscle is the biggest engine or the biggest sink that we have to draw glucose out of our blood and lower our insulin. So, while people may think that cardio exercise is the thing we need to do to lose weight, in fact, having good quality lean muscle tissue is the most important thing, hands down.
yeah, that's amazing. Y- So, how would you recommend people do with training? You said 3 times a week. Is 3 times a week needed or 2 times a week? And what sort of exercise do you recommend?
I really recommend progressive load strength training. And
Hmm.
if you don't know what that is, you need to go to a professional and find out. So, just like if you wanted to learn to play tennis or you wanted to learn to play golf, you could go out there and start hitting a ball. But if you don't understand the rules of the game and you don't understand the technique, you're not really going to get any better at it and you'll potentially hurt yourself. And weight training is no different. So if you don't understand weight training and you don't know where to start, going and joining a gym is the best thing that you can do, where there are professionals there who will teach you how to use the equipment and show you what it is that you need to do. And most gyms will offer that. So strength training, progressive load strength training. So you're increasing the load on your muscles progressively over time. And there's a formula they say for longevity where women in their 40s and 50s should be able to walk for 1 minute carrying 75% of their body weight.
Mm,
So that's leg strength and grip strength. For men, it's 100% of your body weight. So
wow.
I often have people come back to me and say, well, that's just too, like, I pick that up and I feel like, like in the cartoons, I'm going to be concertina down and it's too heavy. So number one, perhaps you need to lose weight. And number two, you need to start at a lighter weight and work your way up. But that's the goal. That's the ultimate goal, is to be able to walk for 1 minute. So if you had a dumbbell or a kettlebell in each hand and walk comfortably for 1 minute, holding 75% of your body weight.
That's a good number to work on. I need to calculate mine.
Mm.
I Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I love strength training, usually 2 times a week for me, but maybe I need to work on progressive overload as well.
Yeah, it's not just, I think there's a lot of classes that will focus on, just lighter weights, but
Mm,
it's not so much about that. It's actually about your muscles working to failure. So if you're not conditioned, obviously that's not going to be a heavy weight, and it might be more repetitions if you don't have the conditioning and you don't have the neural pathways built from practicing training over a long period of time, then you might start with a lighter weight, but you're still doing more reps and taking your muscles to failure.
yeah.
So it's really important that we use good technique
Mm,
to do that, which is why I always say it's important to seek professional advice with that. And also, if you have injuries, there's exercise physiologists and people who can help you work through that and get mobile and get strong while making sure that you're taking care of your injuries and not making anything any worse.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm connected to a few exercise physiologists and PTs, and there's such good resources to teach people how to lift properly and build muscles rather than hurt themselves and have injuries.
Well, it's funny because I think a lot of people I know how frightening it is to have an injury. I have a chronic back injury,
Mm,
and I'm somebody who knows training inside out and back to front and have done it forever. And
mm,
I had a period of about 2 years where I barely trained because the back pain was frightening and I
mm.
didn't want to reproduce it. So I was actually frightened of training myself. So I can imagine someone who doesn't have my background with an
Yeah,
injury. And back pain is something, so much more than, say, a sore elbow or a sore shoulder. It's
yeah.
really debilitating.
Hmm.
And I found that I pushed myself to get back into training through a physiotherapist friend of mine who helped me.
Yep.
And and once I got my core and my glute strength back again, my back, touch wood, has been absolutely fantastic, the best it's ever been. So the strength training helped me or helps me to manage that injury. It's not an excuse not to train, but you need the right advice and you need somebody who can help you through it to make sure that you're not making your injury any worse. But in fact, it takes the pressure off your joints and it really does make sure that you're keeping your bones and your muscles strong.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I actually have listened to that particular episode of your podcast that you were
Mm.
interviewing the physio.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And he's a powerlifting background. So and I've known him for many years. And I just trusted that he's not going to hurt me. So I did as I was told, and it was absolutely the right thing to do.
Great, I love it. I'm just going to ask you a bit about research because there's lots of people saying, oh, there's not enough research and the research is hard to get, but you're involved in some research. Can you tell us what you're doing and some programs that you're involved in?
Yeah, so I've been working with RMIT, the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, and we did a clinical trial in 2023. It was sort of just, out of COVID. It was a bit of a strange time, but we had a group of around 100 participants with a four-arm double blind randomized control trial.
Mm,
And we used Aston RX as the baseline for the diet and lifestyle intervention, which
mhm,
was great. So it was good for compliance. One of the biggest problems with nutritional research is being able to monitor compliance
mm.
because it's not like you take a drug every day and that's the end. It's, getting people to follow and be compliant with a program and then accurately recording what they're doing. So it can be a very difficult thing to get accurate nutritional data. So using Aston RX, we made that very possible. So we worked with a group of overweight people that were not obese, but overweight, so a BMI between 25 and 29.9. And we worked on diet and lifestyle intervention. We had a control group that made no change at all. And then we did stool testing for microbiome testing as well as blood testing for metabolic markers. That study will be published this year. So we
Mm,
still wait, it takes a long time. So we're still waiting for that to be done. But we
mhm.
saw some phenomenal results, including things like HSCRP, an inflammatory marker that went down by over 60%. So there was some really fabulous changes that we saw, in addition to the body composition changes. And then later this year, we're doing a second trial, a similar format, but on obese
Mhm.
people. And we're looking at different metabolites in the blood. We're going to be looking at quite an extensive pathology with that as well. So I'm really excited to do that because the contrast that we will see working with people who are starting from a quite a poor health range is going to be quite substantial. So we look forward to working with RMIT on that over the next few months.
Amazing. So one group of people get the Aston RX, one group of people don't get any advice at all.
Hmm. Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
And I asked you when I was in your office, you don't mention low carb in your program, but but everybody knows I advocate low carb ketogenic.
Hmm.
But your program is essentially low carb, is it?
Yeah, look, I guess you can say it's low carb. I don't use the terms in our program. The reason being, I don't think that it's low carb. I think it's normal. I think
Okay.
everything else is high. And
Yes.
I think sometimes low can suggest that it's not enough, but I think that it's completely adequate. It's not low carb in the way that we're not having plenty of vegetables, for
Mhm.
example. So, some people think that carbs are only bread, pasta, and rice, but we
Mm.
know that there's carbs in all of our plant foods. And
Yeah.
we have a great diversity of plant foods in your program. And
Mhm.
so sometimes when you say low carb, people think they're just going to be or keto, they think there's going to be eating slabs of bacon and butter and not much else. And that's not the case. We're not only focused on reducing carbohydrates, we're focused on making sure that your microbiome has a good diversity of food so that it can thrive. So there's a whole host of things that are happening. The fats that you're eating are high quality fats and oils that are unprocessed and unrefined. We're eliminating all the processed fats and oils, which are not good for us. So there's quite an education that goes with it. And people will often try to put us in a particular box to
Mhm.
understand it because we understand certain terms. But this is quite different. I'm not just focused on getting someone into ketosis. I don't think that's the focus. Will
Mhm.
ketosis happen at some stage when people are burning fat? Sure.
Mhm.
But is that the focus? Are we trying to get there? Are we no, we're not. So I think that our focus is on all of the mechanisms that relate to our metabolic health from the inside. And I like to keep the focus on that rather than starting to count macros and get all tied up with trying to figure out what they're eating. Our system calculates all the appropriate quantities for each
Mm.
individual, and they don't need to count anything. No calories, no macros, no anything. They just follow the program, and it's
Yeah,
correct.
I love it. I think we're on the same page, even though I say my program is low carb, ketogenic. It's not just that. I do all of those that you mentioned, trying to get people to understand metabolism, trying to get people to do all the other lifestyle things like exercise, strength training, circadian health, manage stress. So absolutely, it's not just about low carb, but I just happen to call my program low carb ketogenic
Yeah,
diet. Yeah, and
yeah.
I love how you stay away from not using low carb and ketogenic in your program.
Thank you. And it's just so refreshing to have a doctor who is really acknowledging all of these things because it's very difficult for people. We find that a lot of people will go to their GP, and we know, when your body's transitioning from being very metabolically inflexible to
Hmm.
metabolic flexibility, there are a lot of things that our body's trying to transition through on the way. And
Mm,
if we don't stay hydrated and we don't look at our electrolytes and we don't manage all those things and we're not aware of them, then we can run into trouble. And then, particularly when you add a cocktail of medication that people may be
mm,
taking for high blood pressure or for their cholesterol, like there's a whole host of medications that people are taking that may have a diuretic effect that will exacerbate that. So they'll often go to their doctor, and the first thing the doctor will say is, "Stop that diet. Don't do it." And then they're so confused and they're so
mm.
upset because they're trying to do the right thing, and the doctor somehow insinuated that what they're doing is wrong. What they're doing is not causing the problem. It's the decades of what you've been doing previous leading up to this that has
Yes,
put your body into such a state that we're now trying to bring it back to normal. And
yeah,
so there is a transition, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means there's a transition and we can manage it, but it's a matter of understanding it. And to have a doctor who can help people through that, I think, is so valuable.
yeah, yeah. I think one thing that's the most important is those with that are on medications, they might be able to stop those medications straight away, especially like diabetic medications and blood pressure tablets. If you go on a real food diet, your body gets better, it heals, and we regulate our blood sugar much better. And then there's certain diabetic medications that can bring your blood sugar way too low, and we can stop it straight away. And I think it's one of the most rewarding practices that I can do.
It's fantastic, and I just hope that there are more and more doctors who are coming on board to help people and support them with this. I mean, I've had people on diabetic medication to lower their blood glucose, and they go to their doctor because they've been monitoring their glucose and say it's getting quite low. Do you know what the doctor does? Tells them to eat jelly beans.
Oh
Keep
no.
taking the medication and eat sugar. So I can't win.
Yeah.
So it really is. I think there's a huge education out there in metabolic health, even for medical people, to really
Yes.
understand what that transition means. Because, with all the drugs that are now available,
Yeah.
the GLP-1 drugs and
Mm,
everything else, we do have a lot of people coming on board that are already taking those types
mm.
of drugs or have taken them. So having that support available and people understanding, being in a community where people understand what it is that you're trying to achieve, and then to have medical support, I think is priceless for people.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love what you're saying, and hopefully more doctors can come on board and understand how we can just use real food rather than medication. Sometimes medication.
Sure, it has its place always, but I think that the food and lifestyle is very much overlooked.
Yeah, amazing. That's it.
Mm.
Great. So you've got another round of the 28-day program starting soon? Because
They
I
start
finished, they've started
Yeah,
now.
they
Yeah.
start every second Monday. So every second Monday, there's a new program. So you'll see online when you jump in all the dates that are coming up, and every fortnight there's a new round that starts. So, people jumping on board with other like-minded people who are in the community who will be experiencing the same thing. There's a great community forum where people are asking us lots of questions, and my team and I are online all the time chatting to them. Plus we have a live coaching session every Wednesday. So I jump in and answer questions live with people who in the program every Wednesday, which is great as well.
Amazing. I loved your program. That's great. So where can my listeners find you, Donna?
Just astonrx.com is the best place to go. So there you'll be able to jump in, have a look around what it is that we offer. And if you need to contact us, it's just support@astonrx.com.
Yeah, yeah. And the cost of the program is really affordable compared to a lot of other programs.
Yeah, it starts at $299. If people want to add blood testing and things, they can. But yeah, it starts at a really reasonable price. And then the ongoing membership that we have for the Life program and access, which is, you have a chef adding recipes every week. You've got your forum and support. We support any supplement advice and things that you need along the way as well. That's only $39.95 a month.
Wow, it's so much cheaper than the Ozempic, Wegovy.
So much cheaper. And certainly not the side effects.
Exactly. Just eating real food, following real advice. I love
Yeah.
it. Great. Well, thank you so much, Donna, for coming on to my podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me and keep spreading the word.
I will. And good luck on your research. And hopefully, we get some real data on how it's improving health.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time, Donna.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you, everybody, all the listeners, for staying tuned. And until next time, I will bring to you another amazing guest.